Hi, Mika here from Superchat, and in this video we will take a look at automation debugging. So if you ask yourself the question, hey, why does my automation not start? Or if you have the problem that your automation randomly stops, then you're at the right place, and we will now look at all possible reasons why this could be the case. So here I already prepared something. So here you can see a conversation that I have with myself. And I can see that the contact wrote, "Hi there, how are you today?" And then here you can see a message. And whether there is like an AI chatbot icon or like a bold icon, like a flash icon, you know that this message comes from an automation. So if it's a chatbot icon, of course, it comes from an AI agent. If it's a bold or flash icon, then this message or internal node is coming from an automation. So that's already a good starting point. So you know where the message or the internal node is coming from. And then here, by hovering over it, you can even see the name of the AI agent and then also the name of the automation where this message originates from. So this is always where I start to, first of all, take a look, hey, where does this message actually come from? And then we can continue here in the sidebar. We can see not only active automations, so like this automation is currently active. You can also see this here with this yellow banner, but we can also see an entire log of all automations that ever happened like on this conversation. Now we can even go one step further. We can click in here and then see exactly what's going on. So like here, we are currently seeing the AI agent automation is running. It was triggered by the new or reopened conversation trigger. Then a contact list was updated, or there was a filter going on. And then here, the AI agent node is currently active. So here, this is already a good starting point to see if your automation is at some point stopping, where it actually stops. And then this is usually a good starting point to identify the problem on why the automation run isn't completed. So here you can either jump to the automation, or by clicking on here, you can either even jump to the individual node of this automation. So now if I jump in here, I can see this node is currently active. In this case, everything is fine, so I don't really have to look into it. But here, that's usually also another problem if we're already here in this automation. Sometimes customers are a little bit confused why the automation stops. And this can be the case if you have a filter and the filter conditions don't apply. So like in case I have this set up now, where the AI agent is also gone, if in this case the contact that messages us isn't in the contact list VIP customer, then we will always go with this path, and this would mean that here in this case we wouldn't do anything. So that's also always something to pay attention to. But that's also a great start to start looking at the automation log in the conversation sidebar where we were just coming from. I also prepared two cases here where there was actually a mistake going on in the automation run. So like here we have one label automation. So if you look into it, you can see this automation run was not completed. It was failed. Now we can even see where it failed. So here it says manual trigger. So the automation was triggered. And now here we wanted to update the label of this conversation, but for some reason something went wrong. Now we can look into it, and then here it usually also in a lot of cases shows you the exact reason why this node failed. So like here in this case, the selected label couldn't be found. Now we can even jump to the Help Center article, and that's usually when the label that was used here was deleted. So here you can see this automation is still active, but there is no automation, no label set here. This is because someone from your team deleted the label, and now what we need to do is either create a new label and then add it here, or update this automation node with a new label. This way we can fix this automation and this mistake won't happen anymore. Exactly. Let's take a look at one more example. Here we have the support automation main. Here same thing, the automation was triggered. but then it failed here with the AI agent. Now again, we have an explanation why this happened. Here in this case, it says this contact has already been chatting with an AI agent called support buddy from automation AI agent automation. At this time, a contact cannot manage multiple conversations at once, which makes sense. So like here, this contact was already chatting to an AI agent, and then for some reason another automation was triggered, also with an AI agent. And then we, of course, cannot let the contact talk to two AI agents at the same time. This is why this node failed here. So again, this is always a good starting point for you to figure out and fix your automations yourself. And then in the next step, we can go even one step further. And this is by going to automations to activity log. So here we have an entire kind of history of all your automations. And now here we, for example, can look for specific automations. Let's say the label automation that we just looked at. And here we can now exactly see what was happening. So here we can now, this works across contexts. So this was the one that we just looked at. And then here we also see always the version of the automation that was executed here. As you can, of course, update your automation, over time. This is important to see if the automation from the past was just broken, but you already might have fixed it in the meantime. Exactly. One more thing that's important, especially with the new incoming message trigger, is here we already have 4 statuses pre-filled here. There's also an additional one which says completed without action. What this means is basically when you have an automation that looks as follows. So if you have an automation that looks like this, that works with the new incoming message trigger, this automation is triggered for every new incoming message that your contacts are writing to you. So this, leads to a lot of automation runs, thus kind of, completely destroying this view, because there were the same amount of rows here as inbound messages that you would get daily, which of course makes this view completely kind of not usable. That's why this here is not by default enabled, because here we can also say, hey, show me all automations that were triggered that never executed any action. So what this means here in this example is every time a new incoming message comes in, but that doesn't contain is equal to the message content test, we wouldn't do anything. So for all of these cases where we wouldn't do anything, we wouldn't list these automation runs in this activity log. Only ones where there is at least one action node that's executed, we list there. So especially if you work with custom opt-in methods and you don't see the automation run that you're looking for, then always just try to also enable this to see whether you now find what you were looking for. Exactly. Last but not least, what also a problem that regularly occurs is sometimes you just forget to update your newest version of your automation. So let's say here in this case, you can see this automation is active, and I'm also currently looking at the active published version. Now, as soon as I start, continue building it, you will see now this is a new version of the automation. Now I have to update this automation in order for this to be published also for all new upcoming automations runs that are triggered. So always make sure that your automation is also really up to date and that the newest version is live. If you want to see the version history, you can just go under the ... menu, and here you can see the different versions of your automations. That's pretty much it. I hope you are able to find your bugs with your automation. Greetings from Berlin. Bye-bye.